Hey guys, in my last video, I talked about the physics behind fidget spinners. In particular, why their bearings allow them to spin for so long. And in that video, I touched on rolling resistance and why those bearings don't spin forever. And in that video, I said that I'd make a follow-up video that explained rolling resistance even more. So here it is. And if you haven't seen that video, then go check it out. There's a link in the description. Now, as a refresher, rolling resistance is the amount of force required to maintain forward motion in a straight line at a constant speed. So if the rolling resistance of a wheel is 0, then it'd roll on forever and ever without slowing down. But we know that this is impossible. If rolling resistance didn't exist, then you'd be able to take your foot off the gas and still remain at a constant speed. Of course, adjusting for the fact that we don't have air resistance. And as we see, this doesn't happen. And as you may remember, to have that perfect rolling motion, you need both a perfectly rigid road and a perfectly rigid wheel. And the main contributors to rolling resistance are caused by them not being rigid. You see, if a tire, for example, is slightly deformed where it comes in contact with the road, then when the tire rotates, another piece gets deformed, and that previously deformed piece goes back to where it was before. Now, if the rubber that tire was made out of was perfectly elastic, then no energy would be lost in that deformation. But it's not perfect, and energy is lost, mostly in the form of heat. And the main reason why trains have less rolling resistance is because their wheels are made from steel, which are more elastic than rubber. Now I know this may sound odd, but by definition, elasticity is the time it takes a material to go back to its original form, and steel does this a lot faster than rubber. And the process of losing energy during this deformation is known as hysteresis, and it is the main form of rolling resistance. Another similar form is permanent deformation. Unlike hysteresis, where something is deformed but returns back to normal with only part of its original energy, in permanent or plastic deformation, an object deforms and never goes back to its original shape, meaning that all energy is lost. We can see examples of permanent deformation on roads, where the roads seem to be sunk where the tires travel more often. Another factor is vibrations to the car or to the road. And if you ever stood on the side of a highway, you know the amount of sound energy that is dissipated. And now so far, none of these factors have actually been examples of friction. But our last major factor, slippage, is. Now the whole purpose of rolling is to prevent kinetic or sliding friction, which we know takes a lot of energy to overcome. And slippage occurs when this kinetic friction happens. Now rolling works because the wheel is moving relative to the road, meaning that on any spot the tire never rubs up against the road. But if the whole tire is stationary relative to the road, then the tire slips, causing kinetic friction between the road and the tire. Now to understand this, we first need to understand traction. Traction is the force that generates motion between an object and a surface, and it uses friction to do this. You see, to roll, you need a net force, which is linear, and a torque, which is rotational. And the friction between the road and the tire acts as a sort of glue, holding the tire in place and creating torque, which allows the tire to roll as you push it forward. And when the amount of angular acceleration exceeds the amount of traction, then we get slippage. Now the purpose of a car is to convert that angular acceleration from the wheels into linear acceleration that moves the car forward. But the car needs traction to do this. So the traction is too low on a wet or sandy road, or if the angular acceleration is too great, then not all of that angular acceleration is converted to linear acceleration, and the wheels slip and lose energy. Now the level of tire inflation is super important. If the tires are underinflated, then they'll experience more hysteresis and lose energy. But if they're overinflated, then they won't have enough traction and will slip, which you know also releases a lot of energy. Now all these factors may seem very minor, but they really do add up. In a study by Michelin, they found that 20% of a car's engine goes to overcoming that rolling resistance, and a 40% decrease in rolling resistance decreases fuel consumption by 6%, which is crazy considering all you have to do is just change the tires. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed creating this video, then please leave a like or subscribe. Thanks.